Good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the Heritage Lecture Series. As we celebrate 125 years of CMC, it's good that we can look back at our heritage. We have such a rich heritage, and this morning it's dedicated to the anatomy department. We are going to look back at how anatomy started and how this torch has been passed on across several generations. I'd like to especially welcome people online also, especially Dr. Grace Chandy, who has joined us, Dr. Sunil Holla, and Dr. Rachel Koshi. A warm welcome from all of us here. I hand over to Dr. Jenny Jacob to take us through the lecture this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Solomon sir, for the welcome and to everyone joining us online and offline. And today, the Department of Anatomy will share 107 years of legacy from its inception to date as we stand on the shoulders of giants such as Dr. Ida Scudder, who began this great commission of building a breathing legacy. This morning, as a department, we embrace this unique opportunity with four speakers bringing to you memories, updates, and dreams from the Department of Anatomy. The first speaker is Dr. Rachel Koshi, a distinguished professor of anatomy and former head of department between 1999 and 2007. After her time in Vellore, Dr. Rachel continued a very illustrious career, working for the first several years in Whale Cornwall Medicine at Qatar, and she then helped establish the anatomy department in the new Apollo Medical College, Chittor. She's currently professor of anatomy at Medical College of Georgia, Savannah in the US. She is perhaps best known to our current students as the editor of the latest two editions of Cunningham's Manual of Practical Anatomy. She will be joining us online from Georgia, where it is currently nighttime. And we are very grateful that she has taken the trouble. We look forward to hearing from Dr. Rachel tell us about the early years of anatomy department. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, everybody, for having me here. And just give me a moment while I pull up my screen. I'm just extremely grateful, probably a little overwhelmed, and very grateful to you all for having me, Tripti, Suganthy, for CMC, for inviting me back here on the stage to share the stage with you at this landmark time. And greetings from the beautiful coastal city of Savannah. I now work for the Medical College of Georgia, Augusta University. It's almost 200 years old, but our campus is very new and we started just last year. I wanted to tell you, Tripti, in particular, how I love the title of Standing on the Shoulder of Giants. It makes me feel big and small at the same time. But here I go. Giants of the early years, I'll be covering from 1918 to 1999. And before that, a little story about myself. I started in the anatomy department of CMC as a non-PG demonstrator in 1984 and ended that chapter of my career as professor and head in 2007. And in these formative years, I just want to quickly list out what I learned. I learned anatomy. I learned the art of teaching anatomy, body acquisition and care, museum techniques, the art of handling medical students. It's an ever-changing learning subject. Scientific research. And I learned this by doing what my teachers told me to do, but also watching them in their professional roles. And there's a beautiful picture of our department. Thank you, Abby Charles, for sharing that with me. And we'll start with Dr. Ida's story, of course, way back in 1918. A lot of my references for this talk have come from the Dr. Ida Passing on the Torch of Life by Dorothy Wilson Clark. I did not really verify the authenticity, but I do believe that they are good, they're valid. Standing on the shoulder of giants implies that there's a shared vision, shared between the giant and the shoulder stander. And just to look back at Dr. Ida's vision, Dr. Ida's forward-facing goals and ambitions were to provide quality healthcare to women. And the same vision grew to include medical education for young Indian women. Having that as a vision statement, her mission statement was to have specific actionable steps to realize this vision. And those are what led to the beginning of what has now become the Christian Medical College of Vellore. 1918, the Union Medical Missionary School for Women was formally opened by a governor of Madras. Dr. Ida Scudder was its first principal, and as well as the professor of anatomy. The medical school was in 2 bungalows in officers' line. The first dissection hall was a small thatched shed at the rear of the rented building. Dissection was practiced on the occasional cadaver acquired from the Vellore jail. Knowledge was acquired with difficulty from 1 or 2 books and 1 microscope and 1 skeleton. I think Dr. Ida should have really got the Best Teachers Award if there was such in those days. She made full and graphic use of the 1 skeleton which was there. She equipped it with all appurtenances using red ribbons for arteries, blue for veins, yellow for nerves, stiff muscles which would flex when strings were pulled, and covered it with pale colored cloth simulating skin. I just want to put down here on the screen the enduring values we got from this. What do I learn from it today? What do you learn from it? And the enduring value is to be passionate about teaching, to be creative, to emphasize understanding and retention over rote learning. She also learned to handle students. Once, just as Aunt Ida was about to start a morning lecture, the girls timidly reminded her that it was a national holiday and wondered if they might have the day off. Ida, who had sat up until 2 o'clock preparing for the lecture, angrily slammed her notebook. "Holidays," she blared. "All right, then you'll have a holiday. Not only today, but all other days." She did not stay angry for long. Both parties had expressed themselves. Harmony was quickly restored, and classes went on. So rather than like a giant standing there, she actually was one among the students, sitting with them and teaching them. She set high standards and shaped students' attitudes to studies. She worked with students, allowing them to express themselves and yet set firm boundaries. First batch of students went up for university exams in 1919 in Madras Medical College. Ida's students were to compete with products of well-established government schools. The head of the British Medical Department in Madras Presidency was not too optimistic, and he prepared Dr. Scudder for poor results. But to his surprise and Dr. Ida Scudder's delight, every one of the 6 passed, 4 in first class. What a testament to the pursuit of academic excellence right from the start. By 1922, the college had grown, and Dr. Scudder had moved with the first batch to train them in surgery. So here in 1990, she was professor and head of anatomy, principal and professor of anatomy. In 2022, she was principal and professor of surgery. She passed on the leadership of the anatomy department to Professor Scott. The records don't tell us much about Dr. Scott, but what we do know is that Dr. Ida was getting ready for growth of the medical college. She put on her recruiter hat, inspired and rallied others to believe in her vision. Remember, the vision was still very young. She got people to contribute and to become a part of the vision. So it was all that we talk about now in very glorified terms: strategic planning, identifying talent, mentoring, and building a team. But that was Dr. Scudder for us. In 2022, the medical school was relocated to Thotapalam. And another point of excellence, the first university gold medal in anatomy was won by Eddie Nyanamuthu in March 2022. Subsequently, the department changed hands, so to say. It was really a period of growth, and the department continued to evolve. And very graciously, many people took over the leadership and led the department through those formative years. All teaching has its challenges. Teaching anatomy has all the usual ones, and then it has some unusual challenges as well. 1927. One lady in the batch of 1927 decided that she couldn't stay any longer. 2 weeks after joining the course, she chose to leave, much to Dr. Scudder's disappointment. Fortunately, she did come back, got reprimanded, but finished the course and went on to hold positions of great responsibility in Madras. So that's a unique challenge we face in anatomy. 1930, Aunt Ida's vision had come to life. The medical college was moved to the campus at Bagam. And this is an excerpt from one of the reports published around that time. Obviously, the college buildings had been put up. The college anatomy department also was established. Dr. K. Vaidalingam is noticed as a lecturer in anatomy. I'm not very sure if she was the head. She probably was. This is a little note from the Medical Mission College for Women, and it's from 1935, the annual report. Anatomy continued to do well in the teaching with cent% results in all the exams they sent the students up for. Just want to stop for a minute to realize that the vision remained fresh. It always does. It's always new. And admit all the successes. There must have been challenges and discouragements. We don't know what they were, but we do know what inspired her or what had been a constant prayer for her. I don't trust myself to read this because it's so moving. But I think the fact that she kept her vision, it was not she, I mean, she was a visionary, right? But who gave her the vision, and why was she so passionate and so committed to following that? And these words from the hymn we're so familiar with are just so powerful. He was her vision, God was her wisdom, battle shield, sword, dignity, shelter, everything. And, may I reach heaven's joys, O bright heaven's sun. With what confidence she must have said that and sung that as she continued through life. And Dr. Liza Chaku was the next head of department. She was another lady of immense stature. Her renewed vision for the department included more teaching aids, a good museum, and quality research. These are excerpts from her annual report. She had sent up the first batch of students, completed their 2-year course in anatomy, and sent them for the university exam. The artist had created a lot of models, some of wax, plaster of Paris, paper mache, and this life-size wooden model showing segmental distribution of cutaneous nerves. This bomme continues to be our pride and joy, or at least continued to be our pride and joy for many years. I'm not sure if it still holds a place of great honor. At this 1943, the department gained recognition from the Indian Research Fund Association. Dr. Chako was publishing in the Journal of Royal Medical Society, in the British Journal of Ophthalmology, and presenting papers. And this actually, she, even in her time in Vellore, I know she presented and got many people onto research and got them presenting at conferences and publishing papers. So that was Dr. Eliza Charco in her time, and that took us up to 1957. Next came Dr. D.L. Graham as the head of department. She's described as the very personification of kindness. The department library is named after Dr. Graham. And here we see her in action with the skeleton, with more models, beautiful drawing of the femur. Dr. Graham is yet another non-anatomist who took on leadership of the anatomy department so that continuity could be maintained. 1960 to 1967, the department was led by Dr. Sarah Sauri. I hope I'm doing okay for time, probably. In 1964, the new wing was included for the histology session. The section hall was extended. The University of Madras granted 2 seats for non-medical MSc course in anatomy, and the postgraduate work had begun. She was, again, full of ideas, and she had her own, ideas of research, and she was experimenting with educational resources. This is in one of her annual reports. I proposed to train 1 batch of students according to the XXX new method. I will compare their standard with others who follow Cunningham's dissection manual. She introduced vertical integration by requesting the radiologists to come and share in the departmental symposium and to talk about radiological anatomy. She procured embryos of less than 6 months intrauterine period from Ranipet and Ambur. Her contributions, again, like that of many others, were just too numerous to recount at this short time. The prestigious Paul Surrey Gold Medal examination in anatomy was instituted by Dr. Sarah Surrey. Dr. Harsha, who's well known and fondly remembered by many of his students, he was never head of department, but he was well known for his teaching, his drawings, and his personal interest he took in his students. We then move on to Dr. Mary Jacobs' time. That was 1967 to 1993. She was from the MBBS batch of 1951, did her MS in anatomy in Ames, and then a DPhil from Oxford. The structures added during her time were the Animal House, an animal operating theater, a photographic section, and a laboratory for preparing electron microscopic slides. Her work on hydrocephalus, animal models for hydrocephalus, was extended by Dr. Madhavi, and it was under Dr. Mary's guidance that Dr. Madhavi obtained her PhD in 1985. Probably the first PhD in our department. Dr. Mary was an excellent teacher. She maintained high standards of teaching, learning, and of discipline. And she just was so good at everything. She once quashed an argument I was having with her by marching me off to dissection hall and demonstrating her point by a quick dissection. It was that bit of fascia which on the palm, which extends from the back of the flexor digitorum profundus tendon. Something I would never forget. Probably the 2 most valuable lessons I learned from her were these, and one was respect for the cadaver. I once flipped a tarpaulin cover carelessly over a body when I had finished. She called me back and asked me to cover the body properly, like covering a loved one with a bedsheet. The cover I was flipping was not plastic like this. It was that stiff not very clean tarpaulin. It used to stand up like a tent, and we had to fight with it before we could get it to behave anything like a bed sheet. And this is something which I have carried with me, and I'm going to talk a little bit about something which I am proud of, but it's just very much part of reflected glory, and I want to reflect that glory back to what I learned in CMC. And this is, where I am now. We have a little ceremony at the end of the anatomy program. And this is something which Dr. Gonzalez, who's the associate dean, she's a retired colonel, and she had attended the program. And in her email, she wrote to me, thanking me for the kind sentiments and also thanking me for being with the students on the educational journey. And in her email, she wrote, I can tell you without fear of revocation that you have imbued in this cohort of students the necessary empathy and compassion that will underwrite their successes as healthcare providers. And I was quite touched, of course, because, and also a little surprised because I didn't think really that I had done anything. I didn't think I'd done anything different from what anyone would do. But I mention it here because if at all I had achieved some sort of praise, it is because of what I learned from my mentors and my teachers in CMC, for which I'm eternally grateful. The other thing I learned from Dr. Mary Jacob, I learned many things, but this is care for the students. I was in my 20s when I started teaching, and I could not understand why Dr. Mary would go after students and make them study. My policy was that students should come motivated and come ready to learn. But she's the one who sort of slowed me down and said, no, it was also our responsibility to take, we had to take responsibility for their motivation, well-being, confidence. And again, this is something I saw a lot of in both Dr. Mary and Dr. Grace. And it sort of pushed me out of where I was into doing something more or caring more deeply for my students. Dr. Grace Chandy, I'm humbled and so pleased that you are here with us, ma'am. And Dr. Grace headed the department from 1993 to 1999. By then, she's published on Langerhans cells and in medical education. She always had a smile on her face and always was very good cheer, very supportive, very encouraging, mentoring, motherly. And this is the one thing I really do remember her for. Dr. Grace worked tirelessly to renovate the dissection hall. Very little attention had been paid to the anatomy building. Unlike anything that is old, there's always need for renovation. The cracked cement floor, it was horrible. It was cracked. It was uneven, were replaced by polished mosaic. And only those of us who were there earlier would probably fully appreciate their effort, more so because it didn't come easily. Nothing ever did. I had to slip in that little wine. Under Dr. Grace's guidance, two senior faculty, Dr. Selvakumar and Dr. Inbam, obtained their PhD. This is in their post-retirement life. Happy grandparents with their grandchildren. And this slide, among the last, gives honor to those who, like Dr. Selvakumar and Inbam, worked many years supporting the fabric of the department. By the way, they also contributed richly to the faculty pool of CMC, something else we can be grateful for. Dr. Selvakumar raised many supermen in his time, and I will refrain from mentioning them by name, but he remained faithful and committed to that role to the end. Thank you. So by 1995, our feet were firmly planted on firm foundation. And I love this little picture. The Lord your God carried you. So the Lord our God carried us as a man carries his child. And this picture I find is even more powerful than that of giants as we look at what God has done for us and how we continue to have that shared vision. I'll now exit the stage. I think I've already overstayed my welcome, and I'll allow Suganthy to fly us further. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rachel, ma'am, for that inspiring walk down the memory lane. I now invite Dr. Suganthy Rabi, Senior Professor and former Head of Department, to tell us about the subsequent staff who have worked in the department.
Respected Principal, colleagues and friends, good morning. The first 15 years of the new millennium marked a period of remarkable growth and transformation for the Department of Anatomy. During this time, the department rose to great heights, academically, infrastructurally, and in research. This progress was shaped by the dedication, leadership, and foresight of several stalwarts whose contribution laid the foundation that enabled the department to truly take flight. I will briefly highlight the legacy of these distinguished individuals who were instrumental in this journey. When I joined the Department of Anatomy, Dr. Grace Chandy was the head. I was very unsure whether I took the correct decision. And Dr. Grace's advice was, bloom where you are planted. Thank you, ma'am. It was the year 1999. I was in my second year of postgraduate training when Dr. Rachel Koshi assumed the mantle of the head of the department from Dr. Grace Chandy. During her tenure as head, she upheld and strengthened the high standards set by her predecessors in education, research, and discipline. Personally, she was my guide for MS dissertation. From the beginning, we shared a warm and professional rapport. What remains vividly etched in my memory was her involvement in my work. I still recall Dr. Rachel accompanying me during my initial days of dissertation work, sitting alongside with Dr. Raghuram for measurement of corpus callosum on MR images. She spent countless hours reviewing and correcting my dissertation. Her academic journey was distinguished. She was awarded the Commonwealth Fellowship in 1997. She completed her PhD in 1998 and she guided one PhD student also. She has published many papers, both in international and national journals. Currently, she is the editor of the 16th and 17th edition of Cunningham's Manual of Practical Anatomy. In addition to her academic roles, she served as warden of the women's hostel. Dr. Rachel was an exceptional teacher and mentor. She initiated the teaching of anatomy for students posted in ENT and Ophthal. The next two slides are from her presentation during her 2007 Quality Circle. Review classes for clinical students. Rational, all relevant anatomy needed for clinical studies has been taught and tested. Clinical students often feel frustrated at not being able to recall the anatomy they once knew. So she started this review for anatomy for students posted in an ENT Ophthal. Her program still continues today. Dr. Rachel had special passion for making biology relevant for high school and higher secondary school students. She organized Corpora, a science exhibition for neighboring schools. She even wanted to have a year-round resource for the general public. This is again a slide from her 2007 presentation, Near Future. Health Science Museum, open to school children, Monday to Friday during term time, will enable us to reach many more students. Eventually, the Health Science Museum was dedicated in 2008. However, later when the number of students increased to 100, this facility was used as a classroom until recently. It's been used for conducting many surgical workshops. We also use this building for conducting corpora. So during Dr. Rachel's time, corpora was conducted under the tree with shamianas, but now we have a good building to conduct the corpora. She introduced the department handbook, a valuable guide that continues to document our history. After 23 years of dedicated service, Dr. Rachel left the department in 2007, leaving behind a legacy of excellence. Dr. Selvakumar completed his MSc Anatomy from Madras Medical College and joined the department in 1973. He was truly a walking Gray's Anatomy. He had in-depth knowledge of the subject and he would answer any question related to anatomy at any point of time. He was an excellent teacher who could explain things in a simpler way. Neuroanatomy and embryology were his favorite subjects. His lectures were punctuated with humor, and he often enjoyed some degree of naughtiness by students. When he was a table tutor for Dr. Rachel Koshi, he even found a gold chain in the vertebral column during dissection. He was responsible for producing a large amount of teaching material for the department. He wrote a booklet, An Introduction of Human Anatomy for AH students, and also wrote anatomy notes for nursing students and human embryology. Dr. Selvakumar made significant contribution to the department's research activities. The word procrastination simply did not exist in his dictionary. He was very sound in statistics and had an uncanny ability to write scientific papers. Ever willing to help his colleagues and juniors in publishing papers, he single-handedly turned the publication trends of our department. In 2000, he completed his PhD in anatomy. His special area of interest was anthropometry, and he had more than 50 publications to his credit. Dr. Madhavi was well known for her meticulous teaching and academic excellence. She was a well-read teacher, used to spend most of her time in the department library. She had an unwavering commitment to teaching. She loved teaching neuroanatomy, and she used to attend neurophysiology classes by Dr. Gunasekaran. She expected nothing short of discipline and hard work. The students respected her academic integrity and attention to detail. She was a keen and meticulous researcher with special interest in electron microscopic studies of choroid plexus. She had several presentations and awards at both state and national conferences. I have listed some, but she had won many more best paper awards in presentations and conferences. She personally trained histology technicians in special staining techniques and preparation of neuroanatomy and chick embryo slides. She even started the cytogenetic lab in the Department of Anatomy, which was later moved to hospital side. Dr. Inbam Indra Singh was known for her passion for dissection. Her area of interest were head and neck and histology. She studied Langerhans cells extensively and has more than 40 publications to her credit. She was the recipient of Dr. H.J. Mehta Gold Medal for the best paper published in the Journal of Anatomical Society of India. Her experience in immunohistochemistry has helped us to set up this facility in our department. He was my PhD guide. Her enthusiasm in research was very captivating. She just loved doing histology works like cutting, spreading, and staining the sections, and she found the cells of interest. Her joy found no limits. She not only helped me and others with research, but she also fed us. During the lunch break time, she used to either bake or make murukus, and she'll bring to the department and fed us during our histology work or during our discussions. She was very cheerful, but at the same time insistent on discipline and cleanliness in the department, including the demonstrators' room. One of her most significant contributions to the department was the acquisition of the Olympus microscope with CellSense software. This is again for my PhD work. She tirelessly knocked every possible door within the institution again and again till she succeeded. Today, this facility is not only an invaluable resource for our department for teaching and research, but is also used by colleagues from other departments such as physiology, biochemistry, and even pathology, thus making it an institutional asset. Mrs. Suma Abraham was the MSc batchmate of Dr. Inbam. She was a very good teacher, and she was also very good in dissection. She used to draw diagrams on the blackboard, and she will explain, and the students just loved her teaching. Along with Dr. Inbam, she taught head and neck for many generations of students. Her area of interest was on human placenta, and she has many papers in national and international journals to her credit. Dr. Indrani, she was a sincere and deeply committed teacher. At a time when the term like self-directed learning was not yet in vogue, she firmly believed that the teacher's role was not merely to impart knowledge, but to equip them to acquire knowledge by themselves. She did her very best to instill this philosophy among her students. As a teacher, she had a remarkable ability to simplify complex concepts. An avid researcher, she received ICMR and DBT grants for her work and was also awarded the prestigious Shakuntala Amirchand Award from ICMR for her work on differentiation of alpha and gamma motor neurons by retrograde uptake of HRP. Other than neuroanatomy, her other area of interest was stem cell research. She collaborated with the PMR department and attempted to use the olfactory mucosal stem cell for spinal cord regeneration. She also guided one PhD student and served as the chief superintendent of examination of our institution. Dr. Sunil headed the Department of Anatomy from 2007 to 2011. His interest was in medical education and actively contributed to the MEU at CMC in various capacities. With the introduction of multiple allied health sciences courses in 2011, followed by an increase in MBBS intake from 60 to 100 and BSc nursing from 50 to 100 in 2012, Dr. Sunil proactively planned and upgraded the departmental infrastructure to meet the demands of the increased student strength. Dr. Sunil played a key role in equipping the department with more computers and LCD projectors. When the institution initiated the e-learning website in collaboration with Tufts University, Boston, the anatomy department was among the first to adopt and utilize this platform extensively. Digitalization of Dr. Harsha's diagram was one of his pet projects. He maintained excellent relationship with alumni, which resulted in valuable support for the department from them. An example for this was the donation of a digital camera by Dr. Gunazilan Ambrose to anatomy department. Beyond academics, Dr. Sunil had a deep passion for medical mission work. He completed PG diploma in family medicine and served as a medical officer at Duncan Hospital, Ruxall for 4 months in 2018. He also served as the coordinator for the secondary hospital program. He co-authored the first South Asian students edition of Gray's Anatomy. He held several administrative roles within the institution and served on multiple external committees, including the Committee for Drafting Basic Science Curriculum for the MCA in 2011 and the Review Committee for the MBBS Curriculum of the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR University in 2016. Dr. Beena Isa headed the department from 2011 to 2015 and again in 2019 for 6 months. Her kindness and teaching skills endeared her to generations of students. Her lectures were known for being crisp, clear, and well structured. She was an exceptional mentor to postgraduate students, closely monitoring their thesis progress and ensuring consistent guidance and support throughout their thesis work. Dr. Beena was admired for her meticulousness, attention to detail, and punctuality. She was invariably the first person to arrive at the department, often as early as 7:30 a.m., a practice she continued even after moving out of the campus, simultaneously taking care of her mother. Dr. Beena contributed significantly to the department's growth in a quiet and unassuming manner. During her tenure as the head, our department was open for many surgical workshops and collaborated with many departments for teaching and research. She has 44 publications to her credit. And this is Dr. Shajan Koshi and Dr. Ivan James, who worked in our department for around 10 years. Both of them were good teachers and loved by the students. And Dr. Ivan in 2015, he got the Best Teacher Award from the institution. And we have Dr. Reena, Dr. Priyanka, Dr. Kohila, Dr. Stelline, Dr. Bertha, Dr. Kalpana, Dr. Stephen, Minu, Anshu, Atul, Dr. Sitra, Maitre, and John Bino. Though they served in our department for relatively a short period, each of them were talented, sincere, and brought unique strength to the table. Their contribution, though brief, played an important role in the growth and enrichment of the department. Small group teaching is the strength of our department. This would not have been possible without the dedicated staff of our postgraduate and non-PG demonstrators who worked in our department. And this is Dr. Vic Williams and Dr. Philip Zachariah, who came to our department as visiting professors during those time. Dr. Vic Williams was the professor of anatomy in Texas University, and he was a dear friend of our department. And in 2013, he established an endowment, as a William Chair, for a professorial post. Dr. Philip Zachariah, again, he was an alumnus of our institution, and he used to visit our department for short period of time, and he used to teach surgical anatomy for the students. We gratefully acknowledge the technicians of the early years, Mr. Bhakthan, Mr. Ebenezer, Mrs. Samsa, and Mrs. Akila, who contributed in their own distinctive ways, maintained the cadaver lab, embalming, articulation of skeleton, preparation of high-quality histology slides, and they were able to cut ultra-thin sections for EM work. And this is an old picture in the first row. You can see Mr. Anthony, Mr. Shanmugam, Mr. Munusami, Mr. Rajgopal, and Mr. Jayaraj and Mr. Stanley. They worked in our department for more than 30 years. Later, Mr. Stanley was transferred to principal office. Our special thanks are to them. Their work was unseen, but due to their work only, it is like that the department day to functioning was sustained. From bringing out the specimens or cadavers from the tank every Monday morning for dissection to cleaning the dissection hall and maintaining the dissection hall, they undertook numerous essential and demanding tasks with quiet dedication. And Mr. Anthony, just before his retirement, even he dissected the nervous system for plastination. So, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. I thank God Almighty who has blessed the works of our hands. I express my sincere gratitude to the stalwarts of the department who were good disciplinarians, insisting on punctuality, integrity, and ethical values in both teaching and research. The strong foundation they laid strengthened the department's academic standing and serves as a quiet but lasting influence on how anatomy is taught and studied today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the presentation and running us through the past. Our next speaker is Dr. Sunil Holla, who has head the department from 2007 to 2011. After his retirement in 2019, Dr. Sunil worked for 4 years at St. James School of Medicine in Anguilla, West Indies. He has since then been in St. Matthew's University School of Medicine in Cayman Islands. Dr. Holla was instrumental in a number of key structural changes in the department that enabled us to transition successfully to increase numbers of medical, allied health, nursing, and postgraduate students between 2010 and 2012. Joining us online to tell us a bit about their journey, I invite Dr. Sunil Holla, sir, to speak to us now.
Good morning. Thank you to the principal and the head of the department and all the other distinguished persons who have spoken before and who are there. It is a privilege and honor to be able to be part of this heritage lecture series. I have a PowerPoint presentation which I'll share. Okay. So this is about the anatomy department, the times of transition, growth, in number and the scope. If we look at the time of transition where this happened, it was around 2011 and 2012, especially, where we see that initially there were about 60 students in MBBS prior to 2010. And the other courses where students were studying anatomy are listed there. And in 11, we can see the big increase in number. But there was a bigger increase in 2012. But that happened after there was an increase in the teachers. So the teachers were trained before the students arrived. There was an increase in the number of MD anatomy PG students. So this is the first batch of our MD anatomy students with 4 students. So here we can see the lecture hall where it was the repurposed newly built Health Science Museum. So this was very useful for the 100 students when they came, and there was a smart board later on which was added. We're thankful to God for all the work of the people previously, like Dr. Rachel Koshi, who helped to get this Health Science Museum. So you can see that for 100 students, we needed a dais also. And we made use of different spaces in the department. Like a central space was occupied by the dark room, which we used for developing and printing photographs. That dark room was repurposed as a demonstration hall, especially for elite health science students. The old lecture hall, which is seen here, was upgraded with an LCD projector and additional sockets for laptops. This was especially useful for bioengineering students. Here we can see how the dissection hall was refurbished with mosaic flooring. So this is the north wing of the dissection hall. And here we see the south wing of the dissection hall, and that was expanded at the expense of a big tree, which was removed, and the north and the south wings were opened together for routine dissection. Here we can see how the old cadaver storage tank, which was not sufficient for the number of bodies, we had additional space provided. And there was a time when getting cadavers was difficult, since the unclaimed cadavers were needed in the government medical colleges. So we prayed, and there were relatives who were willing to donate bodies of their relatives. So we had adequate cadavers. We had mortuary freezers in the bone room. Students' lockers were installed in the central area of the dissection hall. The museum was expanded to meet the requirements for 100 students. The histology lab, which was used for 60 students, is seen on the left, and that was expanded and adapted to accommodate 100 students. And as you can see here, there was a further adaptation of the histology lab. Dr. Philip Zachariah was a well-wisher seen at the entrance of the anatomy department here. He visited us frequently and took extra classes for students on clinical anatomy. I thank God for the blessed opportunity to serve at the anatomy department. Here we had memorable times at our Christmas parties, remembering the love of God in sending Jesus Christ to save us. Here are some Bible verses to remember as our heritage. Psalm 77, verses 11 and 12. I will remember the deeds of the Lord. Yes, I will remember your wonders of old. I will ponder all your work and meditate on your mighty deeds. Hebrews 13, 7 to 8. Remember your leaders, those who spoke to you the word of God. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Ephesians 2, 9, verse 10. For we are God's masterpiece. He has created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things He planned for us long ago. Thank you.
Dr. Tripti Jacob, Professor and current Head of Department, to deliver the last talk, updating us on where the department is at now and some dreams going forward.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for attending this lecture. So it was really nice to listen to the history of our department, and I was personally very moved listening to the talks and also preparing for this day. What I'm going to do is give you a little bit of a snapshot of what we do right now in the department, and very, very briefly tell you some of our dreams for moving ahead. So the strength of our department are the staff of our department. So this is a picture it's not very recent, it's about a year ago at the occasion of the retirement of Dr. Beena. But I just want to say that we have a fantastic group of people working in the department who bring different strengths. So if you look at the teaching staff, no two of them are alike. There are some brilliant at dissection, others really very, very good at blackboard teaching, others very good at research, others with innovative ideas to change things. But it's this amalgamation of all these personalities that help us to work brilliantly as a department together. So I'm not going to talk about everyone in the department, but I do want to say a few words about our previous head, Dr. Suganthy. So she had 2 terms of head of department, so between 2015 and 2024. And she did this side by side with many other responsibilities, including being deputy registrar and registrar of the institution. And as faculty who worked under her, we found her highly principled, and she role modeled professional behavior all the time. And her approach to all of us in the department was very collaborative and encouraging. So she strongly believed that everyone had something to bring to the table. Even if we didn't fit a particular mold, she constantly encouraged us to shine and to bring forth our strengths. But at the same time, she was very, very particular about excellence. So we've heard about people who have been in the department before, and I can see how that legacy has transmitted through the generations. Our department really flourished under her headship, and a number of the teaching methods that are being in place right now are things that she encouraged us to develop. A lot of medical education studies which have been trialed and executed and adapted. She's also a keen researcher. She managed to complete her PhD and has published extensively, presents extensively in conferences as well. She also has a passion for maintaining the department history. So she showed you a copy of the department handbook that Dr. Rachel had brought out. First, she was instrumental in working on that with Dr. Rachel, and has since then diligently made sure that every few years the handbook is updated. In 2018, the department celebrated 100 years of the anatomy department when the institution was celebrating 100 years of medical education. And so in that year, a number of workshops and national level quiz and an alumni reunion were organized under her leadership. I think if I don't stop talking about her now, she'll physically come up and make me stop. But let me just show you a few pictures of some of the events that happened during the 100-year celebrations. That was a plastination workshop. That is a special stains workshop. This was the national quiz. One of our previous postgraduates, Nachiket, had come for that quiz. There was also an alumni reunion where previous faculty, those who'd worked as demonstrators, were able to come. It was lovely that Dr. Mary Jacob was able to join us for that occasion. A word about our technical staff. So on the left, you see Mr. Gopi, who is our secretary. He's been the secretary since 99, and most of you know the secretary is probably the backbone of any department. On the rightmost, we have Mr. Rajkumar, who's an artist and modeler, and I will show you some of his work as we move forward. And we also have 4 technical staff. And just like Dr. Suganthy described earlier, our technical staff are very important in terms of the number of specific skills they've developed, right from embalming to skeleton retrieval for articulation of bones, curating cadavers, making sure things go in an organized fashion so that we want one specific organ, they're able to find that and bring that out for us. They've learned a variety of histological techniques. In fact, we are able to provide slides for government colleges who struggle with slides from time to time. And they're also experts at plastination. So here you can actually see our artist is working with some bones. Those are artificial bones made out of resin. And they've really helped us a lot, because for a while we had a difficulty in procuring bones for teaching. But the fact that he's able to make these bones that look pretty much like the original, it's helped us immensely with our teaching. He also has actually illustrated for the Students' Grace edition that was brought out. Dr. Suganthy also mentioned about how the hospital attendants are very instrumental in our work. So we have 6 hospital attendants. Mr. Babu in the center actually retired a few days ago. So we're in the process of training someone new. The hospital attendants in our department have a very specific role that's unique in terms of respectful handling of cadaveric materials. And it's actually quite strenuous work, and it's work that involves a lot of formalin. And we realize that we are not able to go about with our day-to-day role without them supporting us. So looking at what we teach right now, Dr. Sunil spoke about seat increase, but after 2012, a few more courses were added. So we, apart from MD Anatomy and MBBS, we have a number of allied health courses. We've also taken on teaching some of the courses that have begun in the Chittoor campus. But with regards to the allied health specialties, what we do is we have divided the teaching into specialties so that students get specific help for what they need in their course. So they're not all lumped together in one class. We take a number of smaller groups that are specialized for their needs. And the other thing that was discovered was that there isn't really very good material for them to read from. Textbooks have far too much information in them for their needs. And so we have actually developed, under Dr. Suganthy's leadership, resources specific for allied health students, which we use for our teaching. Apart from the students who are regularly with us, we have visits from other students as well. So the clinical vertical integration for ENT Ophthal continues, but it's actually been extended to other subjects. So general surgery visits us with their final year medical students. The nice thing about the vertical integration now is that the faculty from the clinical departments also come. So most often you have an anatomist and a clinician standing side by side and discussing anatomy with the clinical students. It makes it a lot more relevant to them. And we've had a lot of positive feedback. In medicine, we actually go to the medicine class. And so when they're having a class on stroke, we would revise blood supply of brain and so on. A number of clinical departments visit our department for workshops regularly. We just last week had a 10-day posting by the gynae oncology PGs. I think next month neuropath is coming. And apart from long postings, we have people visiting our department just to practice, just to have short classes, just to have refresher lectures. And we benefit a lot. Our faculty also benefit a lot from these interactions because it makes our understanding a lot more up-to-date and relevant. We also do help neighboring institutions with demonstrating anatomy to them. The elective program was very strong until COVID came around. A lot of foreign students would visit the department to get hands-on dissection experience. We had an MOU running with Notre Dame in Sydney for this as well. Unfortunately, the NMC rules now have changed, which restrict the number of students who can come. And so in recent years, this has not been happening. Our teaching is largely cadaver-based, mostly dissection-based. So even now, although the students are not tested on dissection skills in the final exam, we don't rely on prosections. We do use prosections as well, but we try and ensure that every 10 students has one teacher, one cadaver. And we realize is entirely possible only because of the body donation program that runs. We are very, very blessed. I've put a picture of Mr. Chandrasekhar up here. He is the person who is in charge of Udava Mulangal, which is a NGO in Vellore. And they do a lot of good work in terms of improving awareness for body donation in and around Vellore. And we're really very, very blessed by the number of people who are willing to donate their bodies for our students to study. And so because of this, our students are highly privileged. I mean, it's very unusual to see a group of students without a teacher around poring over a table full of brain specimens with nobody to tell them, be careful, don't touch, don't break, because actually the resources are so much in plenty. Dr. Suganthy mentioned emphasis on small group teaching. The increase in number of students, we still make sure that they learn in small groups, partly because it's easier to learn that way, but also because we realize the role that the anatomy department has in figuring out what's going on in students' lives. Some of them struggle in terms of settling into college, and this small group interaction means that our faculty can get to know the students much better and keep an eye on what's happening with them. So e-learning resources have been there for a few years now. Initially, the e-learning website was with the program developed by the Tufts University, but I think for the last 4 or 5 years, CMC has moved to a Moodle-based platform. And through this, we've been able to give students a lot of support out of the class as well. So they have a lot of videos to revise, a lot of access to learning material, cases, histology slides, photomicrographs. And so we have students relying heavily on e-learning resources as well as revision tools. You've heard the term plastination a few times, I think. Although Dr. Grace did think about plastination for the first time, it came in full-fledged in our department once Dr. Suganthy had gone for a senior training fellowship to Germany. And since then, we've been able to establish a plastination lab in the department. Initially with the standard S10 plastination. For those of you who don't know, plastination is a preservation technique where at the cellular level, water and fat is replaced by silicon polymer, which means that it's essentially a liver can be passed around without smell, without any stickiness, or it's dry to touch, and it will not decay. And so it has actually changed the way we teach. Allied health students, you can have a lecture and pass plastinates around. We're able to take those to other venues for exams. Tissues like the brain that are friable are much easier to handle. And not only the S10 plastination, we've also moved on to other faculty in the department have taken on color plastination, P40 plastination for thin brain slices. It's also helped us with teaching cross-sectional anatomy to our undergraduates. And we've also been able to conduct a couple of plastination workshops for other institutions. We've started ultrasound anatomy. We began in a small way in 2017. At that point, we didn't have an ultrasound in the department, and the students were taken to rehab. But it was seen as such a useful thing that when radiology was condemning an ultrasound machine, we quickly asked for it. It had an artifact through the middle of it, but it was still very exciting for the students. And in 23, we were able to purchase our own portable ultrasound machine. And this is a part of our routine teaching now. Every region, the students, the things that they see, they're able to also on each other practice with the portable ultrasound. Early clinical exposure and integration are terms that are very loudly spoken now after the CBME curriculum. But if you see from earlier presentations, this is something that has been a part of our institution for years. So clinicians collaborating freely with us, specifically patients from Chad, those patients with post-Hansen sequelae, claw hand disease, they come to us when they learn upper limb, they learn about nerve injuries. We do hospital visits, specifically during CNS, they go and see patients in the PMR department. There's a lot of horizontal integration between the departments. Our flagship program is the PBL that's conducted between anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry, which also incorporates vertical integration. So I don't think the competency-based curriculum made things harder for us in terms of things that we need to add. Rather, probably the documentation has become a bit harder, but apart from that, it was something that we were able to easily take in our stride. Histology continues to be a big part of the anatomy curriculum. Students, we make sure they have individual microscopes, individual slides for study, but the focus in histology has largely changed to functional histology, making sure that they understand why they're studying that and what the implications are on function and correlation to pathology as well. But one thing that has come up is virtual microscopy. So Deepak had gone for his junior training fellowship to Dundee, and he has come back and instituted virtual microscopy in our department, which basically means that whole slides are scanned and students are able to scroll and look at different parts, zoom in to different parts of the slide in their own time. They use it a lot for revision, for practice, and we were also last year able to have a workshop on virtual microscopy. Now that pathology has a slide scanner, we are working towards improving our slide bank. So research continues in our department. We have a number of small labs that are used for various things in research. The field, what I've shown are actually histology-based research labs, but we also do a lot of medical education research as well as clinical anatomy research in cadaveric studies. And one of our faculty recently completed his work towards a PhD in IISc in Bangalore. And so he's brought back with him skills related to that field as well. Dr. Suganthy alluded to corpora. So corpora was Dr. Rachel's baby, but everyone saw the use of it. What we were struggling with was space. And so with the expansion of our department recently, we were able to conduct corpora again last year. And we realized the number of schools in Vellore have increased. The number of students who need to access this is much, much higher. And students loved it. It wasn't just students, it was also the biology teachers who were desperate to see these specimens. And so we realized there is a huge need and we hope to be able to continue this. Some of our medical students, even though they were just very close to the exam, some of our medical students also came and helped in some of those stalls and they enjoyed it as well. So this is the picture Dr. Rachel put up, slightly different view, and this is the picture that most of the former faculty will be used to when they think of anatomy department with the Ashoka trees. One of our students actually did a sketch of that, which we used for our workshop last year, Vinay from batch of 2004. But if you haven't come to the department recently, you may not realize that structurally we've expanded a bit. So this is the other side of the department. You can see the anatomy extension there on the right of the picture, on the left of the building. So the ground floor of this is what was alluded to as the Health Science Museum earlier, but the entire face of this has been expanded. There are 2 additional floors. So the inauguration for that happened end of 24. So we've had 2 batches of students in the new building. So you can see 3 classrooms are projected there. So there's a classroom with fixed gallery style seating that's used for regular classes. There's also an air-conditioned hall which has movable seating that can be used for small group work, for conducting workshops. And we also have a smaller demonstration room, which you can't really make out in this picture, but it has foldable benches on the walls where we are able to decongest our histology teaching into this room as well. So 20 students have histology simultaneously in this room as well. There was a little bit more of extension that went on. So in 22, Dr. Nithala Isaac's family had donated money, and that was used towards renovating cadaver storage area. It was a huge need. We were getting surplus of cadavers, which we're not complaining about, but it meant that we had to figure out how to store them in a respectful and efficient manner. And so this really helped us. And last year, the institution helped us with further increasing our storage space. So this is a walk-in refrigerator. So now there are two types of preservation techniques that are used. Because there are lots of workshops that run in our department now, some of the bodies are embalmed with a technique that we call soft embalming, which essentially means that it's easier, it's a little bit more lifelike in terms of softer, in terms of dissection, and preferable for surgical skills workshop. So this walk-in refrigerator area, it has a hydraulic system to help with stacking, which means our attenders actually don't have to pour over the formalin tank all the time. We do rotate the bodies through the formalin tanks from time to time, but for most of the time, they can actually be in the cool walk-in fridge area. So now that the lecture halls have moved upstairs, the ground floor is now free for us to continue to conduct surgical workshops. These have been in place for many years, but they were always competing with the medical students for space and time in the dissection hall. So now we have the separate space that is used for skills workshops. We have several departments coming regularly to use this. Even in a few days' time, pediatric orthopedics is going to do their first surgical skills workshop there. So we actually hope that this will increase and continue. We have the facilities for it. Just a little bit, one slide on looking at dreams. So in the field of surgical workshops, what would be ideal beyond soft embalming would be using fresh frozen cadavers. But this actually requires a completely different setup. You need space and freezing and the capacity for those to be dissected in a clean manner. So the institution has given us permission. We do have plans in place. And so once the surgical skills workshops are running much more and much more smoothly, we will be actually moving towards upgrading our skills lab facilities. We do hope that we can renovate our research labs as well, so that the research can be a little bit more organized. And we don't want Dr. Rachel's dream of the Health Science Museum to completely die. So there is currently no designated space for an all-year-round Health Science Museum. What the best we can do at the moment is to conduct corpora regularly. But we do hope that in the future we would be able to set up something where school students can visit us all year round. I'm just going to end by telling you that we're not all work. We do have a lot of good times as well. I think a few weeks ago, the PGs demanded that we bunk journal club and have a throw ball game. So we agreed. And this is at a department Bible study on the terrace, followed by a potluck breakfast. I just want to say that bring back to the fact that I think the strength of our department has begun in the heritage that we've been handed over. And I think it's been inspiring for all of us to walk this journey and remind ourselves. While the faculty are very much the core of our department, I think the students are the actual center. From about 2012, we made it a point to make sure we take a photograph with the batch of students before they leave the department, and then we frame and put it up in the department, hoping when they visit us again, that will kindle some good memories. So this was the last year's batch of students. Once again, I'm extremely grateful to all of you for attending and those who contributed. Lots of pictures and lots of memories, and to Dr. Rachel and Dr. Sunil Holla for agreeing to join us online as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Tripti, ma'am, for telling us and guiding us through what is our present and our dreams to come. I'd like to use the word Ebenezer. Thus far, the Lord has led us, a declaration of faith and gratitude, marking milestones of reflection of God's sustaining grace through the past. We honor the countless lives touched through the work of numerous teachers and staff, and the students who have enriched our lives too. Thank you all for your patient listening, and including all those who have joined us online too. We hope you enjoyed the program as much as we enjoyed putting it together for you. And thank you to the directorate for this opportunity and the principal for your constant support, the communications team and the telemedicine team for making all the arrangements. Thank you, everyone.